Thanks for tuning in. Today we're making the world famous E-fish spiny lobster stock. Kind of joking, I've never made this before, so we're just kind of figuring it out with things that we have in our kitchen. So tried to grab what I could that would normally be in a stock, and I've got our trusty lobster heads. So what could go wrong? So I'm kind of going for more of an Asian inspired theme here, which is why you see things like cilantro or some chilies and ginger. Again, just what I had in the fridge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw in some of the basics into our pot here. Some carrots, got some fresh onions. Again, nothing in here is really, like nothing's chopped up nicely because we're just making broth. So a lot of this is gonna get strained out. I also have like whole garlic cloves, just gonna throw those in there as well. I'm gonna hold off on the cilantro until after I saute these up a little bit. Just gonna throw those in along with some oil. This is a cooking oil, kind of a mixture of avocado, olive, sunflower, grapeseed oil from Chef's Life, which is really fun. So just gonna douse that in there, and I'm just gonna saute this up for a little bit. So tune in a few seconds and we will throw these heads in. One sec. All right, so we are sauteing up our goodies in here, and now I'm just gonna season it again with things that seem to feel appropriate here. Of course, number one thing is a healthy dose of salt. Again, we're making a broth. The spinies are gonna be pretty salty on their own, I assume, but having so much water in here is gonna need quite a bit of salt. We're gonna hit it with some fresh cracked pepper. I'm going for maybe something a little bit spicier, so not too afraid of that. I'm gonna hit it with some red pepper flakes as well. There's already a jalapeno in there too, so hopefully we don't go too overboard, but we're just gonna kind of keep an eye on that and give this a nice stir, get it nice and aromatic, getting to a place where those onions are almost translucent before we throw those heads in. So I'm gonna let this go for another 5 minutes or so, get this nice and golden and flavorful, and then we'll be right back. This is sauteing up nice, but I think we're missing a few other things. Let's go get some stuff from the garden. Cheers. Let's do it. It's funny, I still have like my dive gear out from the lobsters that we just caught. So we're going for more like Thai inspired. I'm feeling like some onions, some basil. So we're going to grab some of these guys here. I just grab a couple little tops of basil. Want to grab maybe a whole green onion here. I think that'll be good. I also have this really fun like garlic onion hybrid that I like. So I'll grab maybe 2 of these to throw in. Okay, like that. Anything else? We already have jalapeno in there. Okay, let's go back in. All right, so I've rinsed off all of our produce. I'm just throwing it in there, right? It's a broth, or it's a stock, so all of these flavors are gonna get absorbed up nicely. And I'm just trying to think through different things that I think will make sense with this stock. Of course, the star of the show is gonna be the spiny lobster, but we're just trying to add some additional flavors that are gonna, help it shine. So now that these are sauteed up nicely, I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with some limes. Just gonna help it along the way. Of course, like once you've got water in here, these limes are actually gonna be, I think, pretty strong in here, pretty prominent, but that's okay, that's what we're going for. So we're just gonna squeeze up these limes. Okay, cilantro, throw that in there. And again, once we get all this in, we're gonna need to re-season, right? More salt, some pepper, get it in there. It's really starting to smell nice in here. It's almost reminding me of like a Thai soup is what it smells like, a tom kha, right? Like if I had lemongrass, I feel like that's what we would be missing. Actually pretty tasty. I'm just gonna throw the lobster heads in now. This is just like my discard bowl, right? So it's all the extra stuff, kind of gross, but has a lot of flavor. So we're just gonna toss those guys in there. And I think my goal here is actually gonna have it steam a little bit to release a lot of those flavors. We've got a lot of juices in here. So I want it to release before I put the water in. So I'm gonna re-salt here. And we're just gonna turn it down a little bit and cover. Let's see what it looks like in a little bit. Okay, so I think it makes sense for us to maybe do a little steaming with some white wine. So I'm actually gonna hit this with a little bit of a dry wine here, or a lot of it. And then I'm gonna cover it and get some of those flavors going. I think white wine makes sense here. It feels right. We'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted. Ow. Let's take a look. It's hot. Look in there. Woo. That's some red lobsters. That looks good. Okay, so I think it's in a good place to start adding water in. So we're just gonna slowly add. Actually, I don't know if the speed matters at all. I'm just gonna add water. And you can clearly tell by the way that I talk, I'm not a chef. I'm not pretending to be a chef. I just like cooking, and I like cooking at home with seafood. So I'm just gonna keep adding more water in. So yeah, don't trust me for recommendations on how to cook. We're figuring this out, and I really do hope that it's gonna taste good, but only time will tell. And the beauty is, I'm doing the experimenting for you. So I'm just gonna try to get some of these flavors from the bottom brought up, and really just bringing this back to a boil before we cover it. So back up on high. We're just gonna let this start to get warm again. We'll see what happens. I will keep you posted. Let's do it. All right, let's see what we've got. This is what we're left with. So now I'm just gonna strain out all of the thick parts, and then I'm not gonna go through the process of going through each of the thinner filters. Honestly, because I only have a normal colander, but we're just gonna go for it and see where it goes. So I'm just gonna take this here. I'm just gonna do this. Strain out all this goodness. Oh boy. Trying to avoid the splash. There you have it. So, take a look at what's left over. That's what we're looking for right there. Looks tasty.